Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I am going to be talking about the Watch RPG. The Watch RPG is it is a tabletop role-playing game that is being built. It is being built by a woman by the name of Anna Kreider, and I think she has some help on the project, but Anna Kreider is one of the primary writers on the project. So Anna Kreider is building the Watch RPG, and I'm talking about a game today that is on Kickstarter that is not finished. No one's really played it, right? And the reason why is this game, we don't know if it's going to be good, but I do know it's going to be historically important, right? And the reason why, so I think that's something I've been thinking a lot about lately. There are a lot of things where if you have a game or a piece of art or a film, it can be good and it can be historically important, or it could be either one of those things, right? So it's a state that can coexist, and it's a state that can exist. It's two states that can exist independently. It's kind of interesting. So the Watch RPG, let me explain what the Watch RPG is. So the Watch RPG, tabletop role-playing game, is the story. It's in a low fantasy setting, okay? And it has these barbarian tribes that are clans. So it has these barbarian clans, and those barbarian clans fight amongst each other, okay? And from the sound of it, it looks like they're straight human barbarian clans, okay? So these clans are fighting amongst themselves, and essentially all this fighting is a privilege, because what happens is their realm, their kingdom, actually they don't have a kingdom, it's the wrong word, their realm is encroached upon by the Shadow. The Shadow is a magical force that kind of descends into the realm, and basically what it is wherever the Shadow touches, it takes people from the realm and it turns them into evil characters, okay, who will then fight against the clans, and kill clan members. Now in this game, from everything I've read, on the write-up on Kickstarter, it's all humans, right? So there's an attribute. So you have a player character, and then there are non-player characters. All traditional elements of tabletop role-playing games. It also does sound like there's a game master, which highly traditional aspect of tabletop role-playing games. It's arguable that if there isn't a game master, it's really not a tabletop role-playing game. I argue that. All right. So this looks to be a traditional tabletop role-playing game. All right. So, but it has some major differences from tabletop role-playing games, and that's why I feel the Watch RPG is going to be historically important. It's going to be historically important for a very brief amount of time, or it's going to be historically important. It's historically important right now, and I'll get to why in 1 second. Or it might be historically important for a very long time. Okay. All right. So the Shadow encroaches. And when the Shadow touches a non-player character or your player character, your player character has an attribute, and it has many attributes. One of the attributes are really important to the game. So that attribute comes in 3 distinct values, and that attribute is your gender. So within Watch RPG, the genders that there are mechanics for, all right, are male, female, and non-binary femme. Okay? So when the Shadow comes in, it has a very, very high probability, like as an example, about 90%, that it will turn a male, and that character will become evil. Okay? So and then there's only about a 5 or 10% chance that the Shadow will turn a female or a non-binary femme. Okay? So that means that what happens is these traditionally war-oriented clans that had male warriors now shift. The male warriors it's a terrible swing. So basically, not only is the Shadow coming in, the Shadow isn't bringing its own warriors, it's taking your warriors and making them theirs. Like that, you're not just losing one person, it's like you're losing 2, right? So it's like a terrible this mechanic of the shadow is very effective in taking these clans and making it so that they need to fight. The people who fight are the females and the non-binary femmes. So at that point, you have these warrior clans that now have a new makeup for their battle-oriented people within the clan, and those people are now no longer male; they're female or non-binary femme. This is distinctly different than any tabletop role-playing game I've ever seen. I've never seen a mechanic that makes it difficult or unusual to play a male character. That is, I've never played a game like that. That's really unique and different. Okay, all right. Then the next thing, so you know, like that's a really high bar. Like Anna Kreider is moving toward a high bar and something really unusual right there. But that's not even the important part about the game, right? The important part about the game, the part that I think is making it historically important, is Anna Kreider has gone one step further, and she said, here is the part of this game. So now you have this structure. You've fundamentally changed how this group of clans fights, right? The structure of their fighting of their fighting groups, right? And so at that point you have this change, and then she's saying, but here's the thing. You're now playing, you know, generally you're playing a female or a non-binary femme character, and they're going out and they're battling, and they're doing this routinely, right? You know, every day or every week, going out, killing members of people who used to be on their clan, right? And then coming back. And we in the game are not going to focus. The rule set is really not built to deal with the fighting part. That's not the important part of the game. That's not what the rules mechanics are being built for. The rules mechanics are built for the interims between the fights. So the game, the actual game time is spent when your character comes back from one of the battles. And the questions and the focus of the game is, who do you spend time with? And who do you not spend time with? Who do you fall in love with? Who do you allow yourself to fall in love with? How do you encourage the people around you? How do you bring peace to yourself between battles, right? Now, what's interesting is, okay, storytelling games are not that unusual. There are quite a few of them out there, but this is a tabletop role-playing game, and so that means here's the key. Here's the important part, okay? What's going on here is Anna Kreider is building rule sets for the interim. She is building crunchy mechanical rules to deal with the social interactions that happen between the battles. That is fascinating, and she is taking her swing. She is, Anna Kreider is stepping up to bat to try something that has been tried many, many times in tabletop role-playing games, and in my opinion has never ever been successful, which is rules mechanics that deal with social interaction at the level of complexity or with the grace and elegance of rules that deal well with combat. That is the holy grail of tabletop role-playing games today, is a rule set that can actually deal with non-combat situations with the level of complexity, with the grace and elegance that rules that deal with combat actually deal with in almost every single tabletop role-playing game. This is critical. So right now, the Watch RPG, they are building rule sets that are desperately needed across all tabletop role-playing games, okay? And, like Fate Accelerated, Fred Hicks, he built Fate, right? He did something in tabletop role-playing games that game changed the market. It changed tabletop role-playing games forever. And I think that the Watch RPG has the possibility of changing tabletop role-playing games forever. So, that's all on the back of Anna Kreider now, and it's going to be really interesting to see if she's able to deliver on that. because I'm desperately hoping she can. And the reason why is I've always wanted this rule set. I've seen it attempted many times, and it's never succeeded. Now, I'm excited because one of the things that is very clear to me when I look at the Watch RPG is that it's Anna Kreider does not want to iterate, she wants to innovate. And those are the people I like to watch, right? I don't want to iterate, I want to innovate. And that is critical. When you see a designer, when you see an artist, when you see a writer who is not interested in iterating, but is interested in innovating, right? That is where the magic happens. And this game has the possibility of delivering social interaction rules that have the level of complexity and the grace and elegance of the best tabletop role-playing game combat systems. And that is absolutely fascinating. Good hunting, Anna Kreider, and really looking forward to seeing this game. Take care, everybody.